Good evening, guys. Welcome to tonight's stream. Please let me know that you can hear me okay, and let me know who's on. So I think we're on day 11 for most people now of the 30-day sugar-free challenge. Almost halfway. And I think that's the thing to have in your mind. You know, the next target, get to halfway. It's downhill from then. So got someone saying hi, hello on Facebook. How you doing? Good evening from Eva. How you doing, Eva? Hope you're good. Just to obviously we're just going to wait for a few people to come on. Hello, Donna. How you doing? In the meantime, just have a think about. Obviously, we're going to talk about trades and swaps, you know, food that you've swapped out for other things over the last sort of 11 days or however long you've been doing this challenge. And just have a think about what are some of the swaps are. I'd love for this to be like a little bit of a forum where we kind of share the things that we've kind of swapped out and what we've changed. I'm going to do a little bit of talking about pleasure, about dopamine and that kind of stuff, and perhaps how we can reset it. And by abstaining from some foods and some activities and that kind of stuff. But whilst we're waiting for people to come on, just have a little think about that. Kathy saying, good evening, Craig. Hi, Kathy. How are you doing? Steve Price saying, yeah. How you doing, Steve? All right. Can see you on your page, but can't open you up for some reason. Oh. Okay. I don't know what's happening there, Claire. I don't even really know how I can help you out. Really, I don't even think I can send you a different link or anything like that. Thanks, Paula, for my licorice tea. Steve said, "Living the dream, mate. Good for you." Right, as soon as hit 10 people on, we're gonna kind of go for it. Thanks again for joining me. This is the last live session or the live stream of our Fresh Start mnemonic. Okay, so it doesn't mean it's the end of live streams. It's not. It's just I'm not going to do them daily. Okay, so I'll do them sort of at least once a week, probably twice. If there's a call for a certain topic or something like that, then we'll whack one in. And I might even do like a couple of like off the cuff ones, you know, just all right, 10 o'clock, I've got half an hour, I'll jump on and do a bit of a Q&A and a little bit of chat about stuff. I'll keep an eye on the group. And if there's anything that I think, all right, I can just throw a bit of knowledge in here or encourage a bit of discussion or whatever, then that's what I'll do. So, right, we've hit 10. Like I said, tonight we're going to talk about like food swaps and trades that you've had to make over the last 11 days. Obviously, first few days of anything, whenever you try and change something, you get the biggest result from the things that you're no longer doing. Okay, so it's the food that you're no longer eating, and then at some point, you know, it recalibrates, and then it's about what you are actually eating, what you're actually doing. So you got to kind of change some of the things that you're doing. And I just wonder, like, what is it that you've changed? What the big thing, you know, have you made significant changes to your breakfast? And specifically what I'm looking for is, okay, I used to drink, I'll just throw a wild example. I used to drink Coca-Cola. Then I moved to Diet Coke. Now I drink sparkling water. Okay. So and that's a bit of an extreme trade, I suppose. But it kind of paints a picture. Claire says, you got it now? Had to log out and back in. Good. Mika saying, oops, I am late. Hello. You're not late. We're not really kicked off. You're fine. Okay, so how do we get started? So obviously, perhaps not obviously, but in our minds, you know, we've developed a load of functions that we developed as cavemen, cavewomen, to get through life, you know, to kind of learn what to eat, what we enjoy eating, you know, to reproduce, all this kind of stuff. And one of those things is our, like, you know, how pleasure. pleasure in our brain. And it used to be, from my kind of understanding of it, that we used to get pleasure every time we sort of, when we saw something and recognized it. So if it was like that, oh, tree, recognize that. As cavemen and cavewomen, we'd get a little bit of pleasure there, And then when we started to eat foods, we would get little bits of pleasure from the food. And then we really started messing around with food to the point now where it's so jacked up that we just get massive dumps of pleasure. And I've mentioned before where, they did a study on the poor little rats that seemed to get all the studies. And it turned out that rats would favor sugary foods over morphine, so they'd rather have sugary foods than a pretty severe drug, okay, such as the power of some of the sugary foods. And then what we do, or we kind of think, if the receptors kind of stayed the same all the time, it might not be too much of a problem. But what happens is that the more pleasure we have, the more we grow receptors. Therefore, the more of the stimulus we need in order to generate the same pleasure. And this is where all of us, it's like drugs, I suppose, where you start off with like a small dose of like a pretty weak drug, and then before you know it, you're just taking really, really strong drugs because you just don't get the same pleasure as you would do. And it's exactly the same with the food. This is why, like I've said before, Neapolitan ice cream used to be that absolute nuts. Now it's not. It's just nowhere near good enough. So a popular thing on the internet right now is dopamine fasting. So dopamine is the pleasure hormone. Okay, so when we get triggers and trickles of dopamine, we experience pleasure. And now the problem is that I've not got my phone here now, but we can tap into like dopamine release so easily. We pick up our phone, social media, dopamine. We play. Some people play video games and Candy Crush and all that kind of stuff. Dopamine there. Watch TV, dopamine. Food, dopamine. We're just getting absolutely flooded with it. And the problem with that is that obviously the stimulus that would have given us pleasure before just doesn't give us anywhere near enough because the amount of receptors that we've got. So, at some point we need to kind of recalibrate that. And you do that by understanding that you need to go through some short-term, I say pain, but I don't mean pain, but let's say some short-term discomfort to get some long-term gain. Okay. And, one of the best examples I can give of this is not too long ago, I gave up caffeine, and I gave up caffeine for quite a while. I have the odd cup every now and again now. But there was a point where I was drinking 2 cafetières of coffee in the morning, plus I was drinking pour over coffee, and I was just absolutely caning coffee to the point where I was like, just not even really tasting it, just throwing it down as if it was water. And after about sort of 30 days, you can wean yourself off it. And then now I can just have like a tiny like espresso or a small Americano, and I'm good. And I'm fine with that, because the receptors and that has kind of settled down. So that's coffee. But obviously we have it with food, to the point where we're filling our face with food, trying to get that same dopamine rush. And because we've built more receptors, more little shortcuts with that stimulus, we've just got to eat more and more and more. And where does it stop? At what point does it stop until you start taking some action about it? Let's see what you're saying. So Claire's saying swapped packet cappuccino that was high in sugar to just a normal coffee with milk or black and no bread. Yeah, good. What are you doing putting bread in your coffee? There's a joke, Claire. There's a joke. But so, a simple little swap. So you went from a cappuccino, which we know, tastes great, swapping that out to a coffee. Now, when you first drink it, it's nowhere near the same as the taste. I'm not some bloody food Nazi where I'm like, stop, you can't, no taste, not allowed taste, go and eat dust. Not like that. But only when we sort of strip it back to its basics do we then re-educate our pleasure senses to enjoy what we're actually drinking, So that's a good little swap. I don't have milk or sweeteners in my tea anymore. Brilliant. That's good. That's a great move. You think, you're having 4 or 5 cups of tea or coffee a day, and you get sugar or sweeteners in there, you can soon end up. Dropped coffee for mint tea. This seems to be a good one. So no milk, no bread. Been using cauliflower rice a lot for substitute food. All veggies steamed. Oh, that's interesting. So I didn't think about that in regards to swap. So not only swapping the food that you're drinking or eating rather, but swapping out your method of preparing that. So it's good. Good one, Chris. Don't worry, Alison. Don't worry. Fine. Mika's saying the wine and snacks that belong to it, don't miss it at all. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? We sort of think first, I don't know if I could ever give up the wine and snacks and all that kind of stuff. But when you start to cut it out, you can kind of completely give it up. Stop eating all savoury shite. I eat Brazil nuts, small handful for a light snack. Oh, good. And so what would you have had before, Steve? Before you get onto the nuts. Mildred, I swapped skim milk for unsweetened almond milk. Good for you. Orange juice, 4 oranges for 1 orange. Oh, I see. So you was drinking orange juice, so the equivalent of 4 oranges, and now you just have a whole orange. So you're getting the fiber with it as well. That's good. White bread every day for brown bread. It's a great swap. It's great for swap. Cereals for scrambled eggs. What about this one that I read earlier on? Like having an open sandwich. So instead of having like double the bread in a sandwich, like a traditional sandwich, having like an open sandwich, and straight away you've reduced your bread intake by half. Little swaps. Alison saying swap coffee for tea and exchanging milk for almond milk. Do you have almond milk in your tea? I know some people can't really get on with that, but I don't mind it. And actually, my little lad, believe it or not, is I don't know, what is he? Claire, help me out. How old's my little? About 14 or 15, I think he is. He drinks black tea. He doesn't eat chips. Not because I've banned him from eating chips and stuff like that, but because he just doesn't like it. He doesn't eat sauces. He doesn't anything like that. Probably why he looks like a bloody beanpole. Alison saying, yeah, I love it. That's good. Chris is saying all pasta is whole wheat. Okay, so you've gone from a white, pretty cheap, no doubt, pasta to a whole wheat pasta. It's good, much better nutritionally, and also will be a little bit better in regards to spike in insulin and the sugar response. So that's good. Jaffa cakes, hula hoops, crunchies, quavers, Pringles. That's a big old list, Steve. Sometimes a family bag of sensations. All that, and I mean, imagine the difference that you're going to have there. I always say, food is information. What have you been telling yourself for the last 6 months? And when you think about like all those snacks, all those foods that you ate, Steve, imagine all the messages that were getting sent in the body, and all the chemicals and bits of crap. And now you're on your Brazil nuts, and at some point, obviously, you're going to have a little cheat every now and again. But even to just go through January and give everything a break, it's really going to help you calibrate stuff. That's good. Claire's saying 15. The last 15. Cheers, Claire. Eva's saying swapped coffee for decaf coffee. It's good. I have a decaf coffee as well. I have like the Whole Earth decaf coffee, which is it's got a few less chemicals in it than regular sort of shop bought decaf coffee, but that's a good one. My taste buds changed about 5 years ago. I used to drink my coffee quite milky, but just couldn't stand the taste. Yeah, that's quite similar. Yeah, it's quite common, isn't it? As you get a little bit older, you start to fear this like some bitter tastes. All of a sudden, they like olives, which when you was a kid, they're like the devil's work. Coffee, red wine, suddenly start liking red wine. So yeah, taste buds do change. Kathy saying reduce tea and bread consumption and looking close at labels for sugar. No sweets, chocolates, despite being tempted. Cutting out alcohol. Swapping potatoes for salads. Yeah, that's a good one. And whenever I do like a nutrition brief and I talk about like the actual macros of food, like your carbs, proteins, fats, vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people say to me, would you just reduce carbs then? And no, I want people to understand that a potato is a carbohydrate and salad is a carbohydrate. So that when we say eat a balanced meal, constitute, it's got enough carbohydrate in there to support the activity you're doing and all that kind of stuff. If they don't class salad as carbohydrates, they're then stuck and they just default to pasta, bread, rice, potatoes, So it's all carbohydrates. They're just, but obviously, as we know now, carbohydrates are not created equal. Even saying, "Oh, you calling me old?" No, I didn't say old. I said older than a teenager. I remember going through that stage where I wasn't that bothered about like dark chocolate. I wouldn't eat dark chocolate. Now I quite like dark chocolate. So your taste buds definitely do change, and your taste buds recalibrate when you start to strip out a lot of the pleasure foods as well. Over at camp quite often, you get people that had come and they've absolutely been hammering sweet, sugary, fatty foods for a long time, and then after a while of cutting it out, like even like a Diet Coke is just way too sweet. You just cannot stomach it. So your taste buds definitely do recalibrate. So as the comments and that are coming through, so kind of where do we go from here? Well, obviously, what I want you to constantly do now, you've got a good base knowledge of how things run. I want you to remember from here on in about eating well, eating healthy is not a switch that you just flick and then you're just like a nutrition guru for the rest of your life. It's a dial that you turn gradually, click by click. And from here on in, you need to be constantly looking for swaps of what you're doing. What you're eating that could be swapped out for something a little bit more nutritious, something that's going to control insulin better, or not spike insulin, something that's going to help you make better choices later in the day. Even coming up with regular meals to stop decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is that thing where you wake up and you've only got so much willpower, and then as you're going through the day, every decision or most decisions you make, it's like willpower's in this cup and you're just tipping a little bit out every time you make a decision, and at some point the cup is empty. Usually in the evenings or late afternoon, evening, which is why a lot of snacking and all that kind of stuff goes on in the evenings, because you're done. Well, if you can have kind of set routines, set meals for your throughout the day, then you can look after that decision or you can prevent that decision fatigue a little bit. Claire said, I'm cooking everything from scratch, so I know what is in my food, and also so I learn I can't have it immediately, have to wait for it to be ready. Yeah, good. Did you not cook things in the past, Claire? What would you have done in the past? Would you just like shop bought or takeaway or just like constant snacking? What was it? All right, so this topic is obviously just starting to dry up a little bit. So if you've got any other questions, bearing in mind that we're probably not going to have a live stream now for a couple of days, you got anything else that you kind of want to add? Anything you want me to go over from the last 10 days, 11 days with the day that I missed? Stick them in here. I'm thinking, what we're on now, Monday now. I'm thinking sort of Thursday night for the next live stream. Those live streams, I'm going to concentrate on kind of getting you unstuck. I'll probably have a little bit of a bit of training that I come up with for that day. But if there's specific topics or something that you'd like to go into a little bit more, then you could do that. So someone there saying, can I still have sweeteners? Yeah, we did some work on sweeteners a couple of days ago. And, the thing with sweeteners are that there are good sweeteners and bad sweeteners. The good sweeteners, yeah, you can keep them in. I mean, obviously, when we're talking about like resetting dopamine and stuff like that, your sweeteners are still going to have that effect, because you're still getting a sweet taste. You're still getting a little trickle of dopamine. So, it might be that you want to kind of reduce it, but stevia, xylitol, erythritol, these plant these plant alcohols really are, the ones to stick to. Some of the other nasty ones like aspartame, not that you put that on your cereal or like that, they're the ones that we need to cut down. So what I'm basically saying is in a lot of foods, the sweeteners that are hidden, we want to kind of get rid of that. Okay. But if you're putting your own sweeteners into stuff, then, go for xylitol, spelt with an X, or erythritol. Erythritol. Can't say it. I can't post it in the thing, can I? Anyway, you get the idea. You can look back through the sweetener lesson that we did, or even stevia. Stevia it's not that bad. So hopefully that's answered your question there. Claire, I did cook, but would have gone for quick, easy stuff or ready meals. Yeah, that's a bit of a classic, isn't it? The old ready meals or fast food rather than balanced meal, quick and easy stuff. Yeah, I'm a lot like that. I don't actually enjoy cooking, so if I was to make something, it needs to be quick and easy. Stir fries were an absolute classic. We eat a lot of stir fries, and we don't use like stir fry sauces. We'll probably just put like a little bit of lemon juice in there, some salt and pepper, and then, keep it relatively, I don't want to say bland because it's still got loads of taste because of the lemon juice, but it's not got like some mega chili sauce in there or something like that. What else? Thai green curry, really easy, using coconut milk. Chris was saying, thank you. Chris saying we do batch cook a lot and freeze it. Good. Anyone else doing the like batch cooking and freezing, or do most people kind of cook as they go along? Let us know. Some they're saying, can I replace real oats instead of pre-made porridge? Yeah, pre-made porridge, it's usually pretty crap. It's usually the stuff that's been swept off the floor, and bloody thrown in a tub with a load of sugar. If you're getting like real oats, especially if you soak them overnight, it's going to be much better for you. Really is going to be much better for you, and a lot less sugar, a lot less spiking of insulin. More fiber, more roughage, just more vitamins and minerals. It's just nutritionally going to be better. So that's definitely a great swap. Joanne's saying, yeah, batch cooking keeps me organized for the week. How many you got in your little brood, Joanne? How many you batch cooking for, or do you usually? Alison saying she's about to start batch cooking. Yep, good. Even if you just batch cook like for the day. What's your view on Hello Fresh? I've never tried it. I've never really bothered with Hello. Well, I have done some food prep stuff before. There was a time when I was ordering like hampers, like keto hampers to try that. Didn't really get on with it that well. What else have I done? That's pretty much it, really. But I've never really looked at Hello Fresh. I understand the concept, and I quite like the concept, but I don't kind of know what. Let's have a look at some of the. Well, I'll tell you what. Something we could do as a live stream one day is you can go to like Instagram and then type in like Slimming World or something like that, and then you obviously get a load of meals. And then what you can do is you can we can look through their meals and talk about the good points, the bad points. And I think it's a good way of like learning about, nutrition. So if you fancy doing that, then let me know. Yeah, they look really good, don't they, these Hello Fresh things? Herbie burgers, pan-fried chicken. It looks really good. I suppose one of those things, if batch cooking and food prep, if it works for you, then brilliant. Go for it. If you're somebody that wants ease, then that's fine. I'm just looking at some of the ingredients in here. It actually looks really good. Right, I've got the lamb and aubergine curry. Okay, and it's got to break down nutritional information. So per serving, there is 14 grams of sugar. I'm trying to work out where this sugar is, because I can't really see what's in there. Yeah, weird. I mean, 14 grams, obviously, it's probably a bit much for this challenge, for cutting back on the sugar. I don't know. I don't know if there's like some kind of sauce in there, but 14 grams seems a lot for a portion. Per 100 grams, just over 2 grams. It's probably one of those things where different recipes are slightly better than others. Andrew was batch cooking and freezing, and then my son moved in. Now he seems to eat all my spare food. I know what that's like. Yeah, I've got one of them. I've actually got one of those on his way to me in the next couple of weeks. And but he's not so bad though. He's not got a massive appetite. But yeah, you definitely feel that extra mouth in the house. 4 of us. Yeah, good effort batch cooking for 4. That's good. Claire is saying batch cook regularly can never use all the ingredients just for one. I batch cook at times, usually chili, chicken casserole, spaghetti bowl, etc. Chris is saying tend to buy all the meats from butchers instead of supermarkets. Yeah, that's a good swap. I mean, like some of the meats and that you'll get from a supermarket, you can't really trust what's in there, So that's good. We tend to get a bit of meat from the butchers and stuff. We also get the trainer Ash. He's got like an organic grass-fed farm near him, and he brings meat as well, which is really good. There's also, I don't know if anybody's seen Muscle Foods. So Muscle Foods, you can put together like a hamper for like 50 quid or whatever, and I'll usually get like a hamper of grass-fed burgers, grass-fed steak, grass-fed mince, and I'll just order a couple of those every couple of weeks. So veg bought from local farms, good for you, Chris. Team Bootcamp Bible helping a lot. Good. Oh, I'm glad you're using that. Obviously, a few of you spotted my deliberate mistake, pulling out the brownie recipe for the deviled eggs. That will be fixed in the next version. Someone crying. Matt Lee, it's not a food swap, but the big step for me has been replacing coffee and Pepsi Max with water. Cheers. Hope you're good, Mark. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a big step, that. I mean, some people actually refuse to drink water because they just don't like the taste of it. And what I usually find is it's usually the tap water that's grim. If you think about like how long the water sits in the pipes and sits in the tank, and it just leaches chemicals out of those pipes, and it's just grim. But when you start getting like filtered water, I think it tastes a little bit better. Like I could never stomach water first thing in the morning, and then I got one of these Virgin. I don't know. It's Aquapure or something like that. So it triple filters the water, then use a UV light as well, and it just tastes amazing. And I could drink that quite happily first thing in the morning. So good effort. That's a massive swap there. Me, because outside Corona, I never cook for myself. Always eat at work or out on my days off. Yeah. I think you work in a restaurant, you got your own restaurant, Mika. What's the setup there? But I think I eat at boot camp quite a lot rather than cook. I bloody hate it. Eva saying sadly there are no proper butchers near me. You can still go for the best cuts in the supermarkets. Like I said, with everything, you've got to make the best of a bad job. We had a lovely lamb curry last night. It was at last time I was at boot camp. Unfortunately, the recipe isn't in the boot camp Bible. Now we're definitely looking at like a second version, and also toying with the idea of a plant-based recipe book. Although we are getting a lot like that. They all maybe not completely died down, but there's definitely, after the Game Changers documentary, it was probably 50-50 plant-based to primal at boot camp. It's definitely dropped back down now to, you get a couple of like true vegans or people that are actually, doing it for real, not just playing at it as if it's some kind of weight loss thing. So I don't know if we'll do a plant-based one. I don't know if there'll be much interest in it. Claire's, I've got a winter box of grass-fed free-range meat on order. Brilliant. But that's good when it arrives. Alison said, is it bad that the first thing I want that I went to in the food Bible was cake? No, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. And cake's very good. Obviously, be careful of the portion size as you think, because it's a little bit healthier, that you can eat more of it. And it's not really the case, it's just nutritionally better for you. Mika saying, I work in a spiritual and cultural centre. All right, that sounds good. Cook for large groups, mainly very healthy and veggie. Oh, good. Where's that, Mika? Let me know where it is, because that sounds right up Paula's street. She's massively into her spiritual work. Okay, guys. So hang on a minute. What's this? Phil, how you doing? It sounds like 14 is a typo if 400 grams. No, well, it may well be a typo. Let me, how can I see if I can show you? So I don't know if you can, per serving, 14 grams. Yeah, that's, yeah, I think it is. It must be, wouldn't it? If it's per 100 grams, 2.44 grams of sugars, and then per serving, I mean, how big's a serving? That'd make a serving bloody 700 grams. Don't know. Let me put it back on this. In fact, I'll leave it on that now. Right, where do we get to? And saying, great local farm shop. I'm using swapped wine for water. Wow, that is good. Well done, Anne. I won't even attempt to pronounce those names, but I shall pass it on to Paula and see what she says. Okay, guys, so we're going to start wrapping up now. Like I said, we're probably looking at Thursday. If you want to do like a bit of a trawl through some of the meals that people post on social media, then let me know. It's quite fun sometimes. Not to kind of slag people off, but just look at how we can take somebody's meal and just how would we make it better? What could we do to improve it? What would we want to try and drop out and all that kind of stuff? But if you fancy that, then we could have a look at that on Thursday. Because saying great. So I said right at the start, I don't think everybody was on. But right at the start, the focus really has got to be getting to halfway, So we're on day 11 now for most people. Another 3 or 4 days, that's halfway, and we can start working our way down then. Okay, so really concentrate on that. So what will that be? If it's Monday now, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Friday is the halfway point. Right? So aim to Friday. That'll get you to halfway. Chris saying, good idea. That sounds good. Basically, you're saying yes. Andy saying, sounds like a good plan. Brilliant. Okay, well, I'll probably put a little poll in just to make sure, see if there's a time that suits people. If not, we'll stick to this one, unless there's something else going on. I don't know if there is with our new. Look. Oh no, I've got so 6 o'clock. Yeah, so it'll be same time. Just looking at my program on the wall. Mildred, thumbs up. No, just doing a whatever that's called. Okay, so another couple of minutes, unless there's any questions that come in, and we'll wrap it up. Thanks again for joining us. It's been a great turnout this whole 10 days. Seems like weeks and weeks since New Year. Everyone else feels that way. Joanne saying thank you. Thank you, Joanne, for joining us. Anne saying cheers. Mika saying thank you, Craig. And Chris saying cheers. All have a good week. Yep, have a great week, guys, and I'll see you on Thursday. Okay, so until then, take care.